Welcome everyone to ABG Investor Days. My name is Stefan Knutsson and I'm the responsible analyst for IT consultant Empir. And today with me I have Lars Save, CEO of Empir. I would like to give the floor to you.
Thank you. Empir, an IT group that we have worked with for the last 4 years. Okay, thank you. If you're following us, you have seen that we have changed a lot last quarter, and this new organization is in full operation by 1st of January 2020. And what we have done is that we have pulled together in 2 legal sub-groups that are fully independent, and we have, in a way, a pure owner company now up in the top, Empir, which is a quoted company. And we will come back to this. Those are the financial numbers that we have been addressing since 2016 when we made them public, that our target was to reach 500 million SEK and an EBT of 35 million SEK 2021, which is something like 21 months from today. So it's an interesting task. And we will start to present our 2 groups, an Upnode with Kajsa, who is the CEO of Upnode, and she will present what we are doing in that group.
Thank you, Lars. I want to bring you back to 2008. In 2008, I worked in a small startup company. Well, in fact, it was only me and a developer in this company. And we were sitting in a small room. This is 2008. This is before I had an iPhone. This is before I was on Facebook. So this is way back. And we sit in this room, and we're 1 week from launch. And all of a sudden, I hear a crash. It's like a big bang. And my key developer, Martin, has just dropped his MacBook to the floor. It's totally smashed. We're a week from launch, and our complete code is in his MacBook. So I'm totally devastated. I'm just, what are we going to do? We're 1 week from launch. And he picks up this crashed MacBook, and he looks me in the eye, and I remember it to this day. Don't worry, I got it all backed up in the cloud. So this is the first time I hear about the cloud. And today, in Corona times, we're all in the cloud. We all have to be in the cloud. And I didn't realize it then. I felt that there was something really important about this, but I didn't realize that it was actually going to affect my whole career from there on. So I'm Kajsa Lundfall. I'm the CEO of Upnode Group, which you just have seen is a part of Empir. We have set up some targets for 2022 to turn over 125 million and have 20 million on the bottom line. These are some substantial targets, and I would use this presentation to walk you through how I think that we will reach them. There are 5 companies, 5 different companies in Upnode Group. They're all cloud services. They're all business to business or software as a services, as we say. But more important, they're all subscription based. So they're all recurring revenue companies. Now, this is really, really nice in days like this when everything just falls apart. A recurring revenue, a subscription model, which means that we month on month know approximately what we're going to invoice, and better than that, every month to me is an all-time high because we're companies in growth. The 5 companies form a very sustainable business model because they sit on different stages in the product life cycle. So they're kind of a pearl of companies that are in different stages, which means that we can use some cash from one of them to invest in another. Our cash cow is Advoco. It's a modern business telephony company. It's been around for quite some time. It's a solid business with 30,000 users and some 40+ partners that resell this to companies, to small and medium companies across Sweden and in the UK. This is the cash cow of the group. And the next company I want to present is so up to date in these days. Frontnode is a cloud-based IT department. So Frontnode will take care of all the IT aspects of a company and handle it all remotely. They will put everything up in the cloud, even the legacy services that are sometimes very hard to get into a cloud-based solution, and companies will be stuck with VPN or other old-time solutions. So they keep everything up to date, they give user support, secure backup, and look into a complete IT department remote. And as you can understand, these days they are very busy. Next in line, we have a couple of fleet management companies. Portify is our fleet management flagship. This sits on a very a market that will take off, that we see will take off in the following years, where everything is going to be a shared economy and we're going to share resources within another. And of course, carpooling is a very important part of that. So Portify is a fleet management company that has a software, app-based and web-based, for IoT purposes on an Azure base, and they already have about 10,000, actually 11,000 since I made this presentation, vehicles on this system. And they're very active in the public sector, where carpooling is, of course, a very, very important part of the business. I want to share with you some specific aspects of Portify when it comes to owning cars. The most important and the most costly part of owning a car is not the fuel that you put in it, but the cost of ownership, the decrease in value that a car will experience during its lifetime. And the way to maximize that and get most out of your car is to drive it very carefully. And this is where eco driving comes in. And I brought with me this day the top list of week 11 of our own company, where we score our eco driving. And as you can see, Anna is the greatest with 9.6 score in eco driving, and the other one follow. The eco driving purpose in Portify is gamification. It's all a game. It's not just a score. I know when you sit in your car and you see your eco driving score, it doesn't really tell you everything. It doesn't really tell you anything. But if you compete with the other ones in your company, I will tell you that with every company, with every organization where we have implemented this, they will start to compete. And they will try to reach the top score in eco driving. And when you get that competition within a company or an organization, not only is it fun, you can actually save some substantial money. This is a screenshot from Portify's system, where you can see that the average score of eco driving is 7.9. But you can also see what happens if everybody drove as well as Anna. The system has a slider where you can see what happens and how much savings you can get when everybody drives just a little bit better. And I can tell you, these are substantial savings. They're really nice to write about in the annual report. Other things that Portify do is that they put everything very close to the driver. So reports, automatic reminder, intelligent pooling and such. And I also brought to show you here this little beacon. This is a small thing that you put in the glove compartment of your car. And once it's there with no installation or anything, it will actually follow you where you drive, how much you drive, so you can do your driving journal for the tax authorities, but also for your, of course, your eco driving and your competition. Really cool. Recently, we acquired another company called Miljöbilcentralen, or MBC as we call them. They are in the same business, fleet management, as Portify, but they manage private cars for employees. So they have some 12,000 happy drivers, 1,200 happy drivers. And what they do is they do the calculation for net salary reduction for the company. It's a zero cost operation for the company, and the employee will pay for their private car with a net salary reduction. Miljöbilcentralen will do all the administration, and together Miljöbilcentralen and Portify have over 80 public sector customers already. Now, this is a fairly new acquisition, and as you can imagine, we're now putting all this in digital format, using, of course, Portify platform. So I feel that the fleet management sector of Apnode is really the one that's going to take off in the next 12 to 18 months. We also keep all our systems developer in a joint group in a separate company called Rakas. They develop Java, .NET, public and private cloud, open source, but most important, all our developers are really, really skilled on business need. They talk daily with users, with customers, and we don't hire people that don't understand both the programming and the business need of the company. And if you know anybody that fits into that description, we are always looking for great talent. That was really all I was going to tell you about Apnode. I made you a very quick introduction about all the companies. They're all for the mobile workforce. They're sustainable business model where every company sit in their distinct phase in business growth, and they're all on recurring revenues. And they all are in the cloud, which is really, really good in these Corona days. We're all now working from home. We're all contacting our customers remotely. And this is business as usual for us. So we feel very confident in these unsecure times. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess there is only one more slide to show. To wrap this up, if you have been following our reports, which I hope you do, and you read, I think in the last two ones, I have been very, very outspoken about the process we are in doing. And clearly, coming back from when I took over 2015, and this is part of the exit plan in terms of showing you what we have been working with over the years. A number of emission to finance it, acquisitions, and everything has been guided. All these numbers are public. You can read it in our reports. And the big task now when the world is changing is, of course, what is the reality behind all these plans? And that's why we have been very outspoken about it. But in principle, the shareholders have not appreciated a conglomerate that we built up with a lot of different companies and different brands. And therefore, last quarter, we put it together to be transparent. And we created these two groups and put up financial targets for each one of them. And they have been communicated. And it's not by accident that there is 22 here, 22 there, and we have a 21 there. The trick is now, in the remaining 20 whatever months, is to come up with the actual plan, how to do it. And now the world is changing, so it's not easier. The problem we have from the coronavirus here is not very big because it's stable and we are remote and we're well prepared. Here is, of course, if not our customer is a problem, they can pay. We don't have restaurants or transportation. But if our workforce gets sick and is away, then, of course, our availability to invoice will be inflected because these are basically ours. And even if the society compensates to some part, the problem is, of course, the top line will be hit. And we're doing a lot of work here now. I think we are in reasonably good shape because it's not very many small companies. We have pretty stable companies. And the good thing is, of course, a lot of resources will be available because there will be tough times for many, many, many companies. So we are doing that. We did last quarter a way of showing the separate business. And we have sold so far about 20% of the group to another quoted listed company called Exavitec. In together, as you can see, there is indirectly, but we control this, we manage this. This is our people. And we have made 30% of the shares public on a listed company. So this is now the coming month will be very, very exciting. And I'm looking forward. I think a lot of positive things will come out of this. a lot of more distance work, which we are very well. And we have a lot of consultancy because a lot of IT will be needed to turn the society into a digital world. And as you can see, 20 million, 20 million, 35 million. What I try to show is we have the body, we have the money in the systems. Then it's of course there's a time issue here. And if then Corona makes things changing, we are investigating just now.
Okay, thank you Lars and Kajsa for the presentation. I will begin by further talk about the Corona situation here. And you mentioned that that Frontwalker is more affected than AppNode. Is it mainly the sick leave that is the problem?
Yeah. Because we don't have any industry. I think we have had one logistic company that basically nobody chartered the buses any longer. And we had quite a lot of 4 people there actually that they just call up and say, sorry guys, we cannot pay. We're happy with your work, what you have done, but we can't just pay.
So the end customers is not small companies that might struggle.
There are several authorities which we hope can pay.
Yeah.
and no, the problem is if they have to stay home, take care of the kids.
Yeah.
I had one manager, Torbjörn Skog, who's manager here, Kajsa's colleague here. 2 kids, 1 3 and 1 6, double working to get this organization in working. And if the kids cannot be handed over to the grandparents, I mean, how can they manage?
No, I agree. I also have small kids, so
that
I
of
totally
course
understand.
but that we share that with everyone, so we're not unique here.
Yeah.
So I think solidarity in society, we will help each other.
Yeah.
With an understanding here, but it's a real day-to-day problem.
And looking at the AppNode group, you mentioned that Frontnode is very busy in this period of time. Have you seen any effect on the other parts of the business where demand has maybe decreased? Or
it would be foolish to say that Corona wouldn't affect us, but in a subscription-based model, with a number of customers rather than few large customers. If there is a decrease in demand, it will be very, very slow in a subscription-based model. So we will have lots of time to adapt our organization if that happens. But we've seen the opposite now. We've seen a bigger demand for teleconferencing in a telephony world. We've seen bigger demand for remote speaker events like this. In fact, we had a scheduled speaker event this week that we actually have to hold online just as you do. And as a result of that, we got more demand for other companies who want also to do online events. So I see an increase in demand for some of the companies. And of course, in the fleet management business, which is all about cost savings, that's going to be even more important now, especially in the public sector, where a lot of money will go to other things. So there will be some increase in demand as well. So it's very hard to tell, but I feel that we're really a robust organization to take action in cases like this.
that sounds promising. Continuing on AppNode Group, can you mention where you are now in terms of your 2020 targets?
We're a bit from our 2020 targets, and that's the main reason for that is that our cash cows is now putting money into the fleet management companies. We expect them to turn from investment companies into profitable companies at the back end of this year. And when that happens, it goes very quickly into a much more profitable solution.
Yeah, that was also a follow-up, like how dependent are AppNode on Advoco today? Is it, you mentioned it's the only profitable company in the group.
It's not the only profitable company. No. The Frontnode, Miljöbilcentralen, Rakas, Advoco, they're all profitable. But we're putting a lot of money into Portify, which is our fleet management project. We're still doing that, but decreasingly during the course of this year. Well, or rather, the business is growing to balance the costs. So no, it's not. No, we have a lot of profitable companies. It's Portify that we're investing in at the moment.
Okay, perfect. And you also mentioned Rakas. Do they only focus internally, or do they have external
They have both
customers?
internal and external customers. Rakas is doing development work for external customers, always in-house, so they take care of the whole managed service type consultant business. And so far, we haven't seen that shake at all. So, because again, we're very used to working from home or working in-house with our projects rather than going out to customers.
But do the strategy differ a bit for Rakas in comparison to the other companies in terms to reach your 2022 targets?
Yes, because Rakas is a development organization rather than a subscription-based model. So it will be more of keeping Rakas flexible to decrease and increase the development sources, the development resources that we have there during the course of this time. But on the other hand, in times like this, it's easier to get hold of good people, and so it works both ways.
Yeah. Good. And also on the risk here in conjunction with Corona, you mentioned that you have a lot of different customers, but how does the usual end customer look like in the case of Apnode Group?
It's different from different companies. Advoco's customers are typically small, so 8 to 10 people, small business companies. And because of that structure, we may see some of them just falling apart. But there are also a lot of companies, so the risk is very much spread. And as I say, well, telephony is maybe not the first thing that you cut down on, so it's something that you keep paying for a long time. Portify and Miljöbilcentralen are in the public sector, which is fairly stable these days, so it's a completely different one. The risk is I think is fairly well spread.
Yeah, that sounds good. By that, I would like to thank you for today's presentation and for more information on the group. Really nice.
And thank you for listening out there.
Next time we take front walker.
Yeah.
Thank you.